Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Really Charlie podcast. I'm trying to do this broadcast through my iPad and got some technical difficulties. But today's guest is Marvin Speller, show number 2 with Coach M100. Definitely a great dude. I like talking to him, enjoy reading his post on Facebook and getting some enlightenment. Definitely a good brother, good teacher. And we're going to talk about a few things, some health tips. And without further ado, it would we're going to be, excuse me, I'm kind of getting my thoughts here. Without further ado, Marvin Speller, we're going to actually be on for about an hour as long as we can. If the subject matter is there, we're going to stay on the air. All right, so bring your comments to the screen, and then we're going to ask the coach what he thinks and how he can help us. All right.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard, brother.
Hey man, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Little little cold.
Yeah, a little
Um,
chilly out here too, man, in LA. So
yeah, yeah.
well, cold for us. 50s is cold for us, man.
Hmm. Well, I'll take 50 any day. It's
I hear that, man.
so um so we definitely got this vaccine coming to us.
Yep.
Helping people, and I've lost some people.
Mm-hmm.
You lost some people,
Yep.
and it's not coming fast enough. So I hope things change for the better. For all of us, for the world, because too many people are dying. All right,
Absolutely.
all right. Sorry, brother, I lost you here. So I'm sorry. So go ahead, Marvin. They can see you. I'm gonna try
Okay.
to enter through this
Sure.
through my
Um,
Mac and switch up.
thanks for having me on again. And I really appreciate it. I really think this is critical. And I think this time we can talk more about physical health. Next time we maybe talk about mental health.
Yes.
We're getting a little echo in your end.
That's me. Straighten this out right now, quick. All right. All right. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, there you go, brother.
All right.
All right.
So we're losing people at a record pace, and
Absolutely.
it's definitely mind-boggling in me because as we lose people, um, it hurts. It really hurts me because the vaccine is right there on the shelf, and so we have to think of some alternatives until this comes. And the alternatives would be some of your suggestions that that you broadcast on your page. And what are some of those suggestions that you have for people?
No, that's a great point, Charlie. I think one of the things is that while modern medicine is great on a lot of levels, I think we have to take a proactive approach to what we do every day as well.
Yeah.
What I find it to be interesting is that when the vaccines first came out, I mean, first they came out record time, which was great on one level. But
Exactly.
when you think about this vaccination, they also said somewhere amongst a long paragraph, they also said that the vaccines are not or will not stop the spread of COVID right now. Um, which brings up an interesting question, right? If that's not going to stop COVID right now, what is? There are a lot of doctors out here who have protocols. I don't know if you saw on my page, they put up a protocol. And one of the things is, the one thing that they were saying this summer that works. The doctors who said that got silent, and then they started saying it may work, right? But there's so many different protocols out there. The hydroxychloroquine, that's supposed to work, but that works with in conjunction with zinc,
Okay.
right? And having vitamin D supplements, right?
Yes.
Those are hard to come by, right? But that's proven to work. But a lot of times, what happened initially when COVID came out, the first thing they did, especially, and I hate to say this to the care that happened to us as people of color, a lot of us went on ventilators, right?
Mm-hmm.
Initially. And they didn't use the hydroxychloroquine. They didn't use that at the time. And they were using different things. So they were kind of shooting around the dark. I would also say when it comes to COVID, and I want to go back to like the other things that we can do beforehand, I would say it is critically important to ask doctors questions and be a part of having someone that can advocate for you. Because if you're definitely ill, you're going to take anything or any suggestion the doctors ask you to do, right?
True.
So I would say it's critically important to have someone that's going to be an advocate for you. And they can go in and ask the question, hey, what does this do? We heard about these protocols that can help people live. Can we do that? Because a lot of times they're constantly changing the protocols. We don't always know why they're changing these protocols, Charlie. And I'm not saying that to scare people. What I'm saying is that as we've seen throughout history, and especially people of color, is that sometimes the medical care that we get is substandard at best. And with that being the case, we have to make sure that someone is advocating for it. I saw something last month, Louis Gossett Jr. I think he's like, 92? Dude's like 92 now, right?
Yeah.
He came out with COVID, and he was in the hospital, and he was like, man, forget that. He was like, man, I feel like they could be doing better.
True.
You know what he did? He was like, you know what? Give me what I need. I'll heal at home. And I'm not saying that. I want to be 1,000% clear. I'm not saying that people shouldn't listen to doctors. People shouldn't stay in the hospital or go to the hospital. All I'm saying is that, and I heard this point blank from my doctor, because I'm out here, as you know, in the community every day. I'm like, should I take hydroxychloroquine?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, you don't necessarily need it. But he said, all those protocols that the president was talking about, Donald Trump, that he took, and a lot of people around him and who survived, well, people will say that's kind of a little bit off and it's not what other people are doing.
True.
He said, I have those. He said, I have those protocols that if you start to get sick and we test you and you have COVID, you come in, you can get those things. I said, well, should I take those now? He said, don't worry about it. Now, how many people are hearing that? How many people are hearing when they go to the doctors, well, we got these other protocols that people are saying, hey, what are they waiting for? And here's the $1 million question, Charlie. Why didn't we get those protocols 7, 8, 9, 10 months ago?
Yeah.
Because there were doctors, and I was listening to a doctor recently, Dr. Simone Gold. So do you remember over the summertime, there was all these doctors that came, I was about 10, 15 of them, right? And there was this one lady, it was a black doctor, I think she may have been Jamaican. She talked about the protocol. I was just talking about zinc, hydrochloroquine. And she said she didn't lose one patient. But she was wondering why people are not getting these protocols.
True.
And I'm really passionate about this because a lot of people are dying from this, especially percentage-wise people of color. Right? So these protocols are not prescribed and not given to us, right? And you've got to ask the question. And this is the thing this day and time, Charlie, which is most important, why are we not asking more questions? And honestly, because and I think we're not, because in some ways, if someone comes up with a question, someone's going to be canceled. They'll be like, well, you know what? You're this supporter. You're this supporter. I mean, no one should be any type of supporter except when it comes to what's it going to take for us to be healthy.
Yeah, one
When
of
it,
the comments was advocate for yourself. You know.
yes, yeah. So I want to kind of go into what we first talked about. So that's kind of the COVID piece. What happens when it comes up? Ask the questions, because there's a lot of protocols that are curing people and are helping people be healthy. There should not be this many people dying from COVID.
Hmm.
Point blank. Beforehand, I'm gonna give you about 5 or 6 things. You got to boost your immunity, man. You can't wait until you get sick and then start doing things. I
True.
mean, you know, there's elderberry. Elderberry. I mean, that is great. Getting clean water, man. Getting water in your system. Um, there's this thing I started taking years ago, because I used to work in the early childhood education field, and I'm going in all these schools day after day, and there's a lot of different things that there was so many different diseases that happen in schools. Some things you can't even pronounce, and or things you never hear about. The one thing that scared me at first, hand, foot, and mouth disease. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Yeah,
No.
it's highly contagious, man, and kids spread this like nobody's business.
Wow.
Um, I've seen it where a couple kids get it, and then half the school has it in a matter of days. Right, hand, foot, and mouth disease. You got croup, and so I was taking this thing called olive leaf extract. Olive leaf extract was one of these things that really boosts your immune system, right?
True.
I started having my mom and other family members take olive leaf extract. Have you ever heard of that?
Olive leaf. I heard.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
olive leaf extract.
Okay.
And I was getting the kind out of Australia and New Zealand, which is high potency. And
True.
it's got certain things in it that will go in and boost your immune system. Oil of oregano was one of those things as well. Um, Oil of oregano was extremely awesome, man. So I was taking that. We take this tea that keeps your lungs clear, because a lot of problems with COVID come up is that it was damaging people's lungs, and kind of in a lot of ways that was really hurting them from a COVID perspective.
And
Um,
that's in a tea.
yeah, we take this, and I'm gonna put it up on our site today.
Okay.
That tea is extremely important, right? Getting more vitamin D supplements in you, right? You could take it in a tincture, you can take it in other forms as well. Um, those things boost your immunity, but also another thing, an age-old thing that people used to do. When you start to feel not as well, make sure you're not ingesting any sugar, because sugar kind of stunts your white blood cells.
Hmm.
Sugar, um, they had this thing several years ago. They were talking about what sugar does to your white blood cells. It'll either kill them, or it'll make them not as effective. And your white blood cells is what's in your body to help you stay healthy. Point.
True.
Okay, so cutting out sugar, man, and that could be like sugar in your pastries, sugar in your condiments, sugar in your drinks, right? You got to cut that stuff out, especially this time of year. And I would almost suggest anybody, if you could cut your sugar content in half, like today,
Yeah.
you're in your way of having a more robust immune system. Your sleep cycles, you know, I've always said as a coach, you should try to get to sleep before 10:30 at night. Your body goes through a refreshing cycle between 10 and 12 o'clock at night. And if you're up doing things, your body only has so much energy, right?
True.
And so it's got to determine Where's it going to spread this energy out to? If you sleep, it's going to do what it needs to do to refresh your body. That's why we go to sleep, right? That's the simple concept, right? But there's certain periods of night where our bodies go into this rhythmic cycle, and this cycle is kind of inconducive with the planet. And we've been like this way since the beginning of time. Our bodies really start to heal itself between 10 p.m. at night to like midnight. And then after midnight, sometime between 12 and 1, our bodies start to go into REM sleep. So if you're like an all nighter, you're going against your body cycle. And those things really help to boost your immune system along the way. I can go into diet, but I can also say, hey, one of the things with diet, try to eat a little bit more greens, and cut back a little bit on starches if you can. But I think the most important thing is your supplements along the way. And some of these supplements are not necessarily the over the counter stuff because they have other stuff in them, right? Trying to become a little bit more a master of the what's in your stuff, what's the ingredients in the things that you take, whether you are drinking them or whether you're eating them, and those things can really, really, man, really boost your immune system. Um, and then the exercise, we talked about that before, right?
Yes.
You gotta get moving, man. That's the one thing. The one thing that will boost your immune system. Now, it could take it down for a little bit at first because it's a change in your body, and your body's going through all sorts of stuff when you start to exercise. Your muscles are tearing to grow. Your lungs are expanding. I mean, you're putting your body through some level of trauma when you go and exercise, right? But people got to get moving too.
True.
And that was one of the things that I shared last time. Man, I was able to help my wife lose 100 pounds. And, I was able to do that certain ways. But, I've always been passionate about health because, when I was growing up, man, no one lived in my family past 80. Like my
Mhm.
grandmother was an old person and she lived to the ripe old age of 80 years old. But, when I was growing up, I had an aunt. And back then, man, she was talking about bee pollen, and everybody was laughing at her in the family. This,
Mhm.
this kind of happens. Someone says something that's a little different. You know, we got laughed at back then.
Yes.
Now we get canceled. If someone says, "Okay, well, try this," someone, "Oh no, that's not what I heard by my doctor." Well, sometimes doctors aren't always right, and sometimes doctors need to be challenged to be better as well. So
Exactly.
it's important to, if you really want change, and it seems like that's kind of the theme of what we're talking about today, Charlie. If you want change, change never comes about doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. We've heard that many different ways and many different forms from people. If you want change, you got to do things different. By and large, and say, I wanted to lose 50 pounds. I can't do it by sitting on my couch eating ice cream all day, eating hamburgers and hot dogs. I got to get out there and I got to have some pain. I got to have some tough moments because the first thing what happens when we come up with change, Charlie, there's a part of our brain, and I mentioned it last time, that's going to fight it. Oh no, that's not what I'm used to. Especially the older and older we get,
Hmm.
right? And what happens is our brain, but sometimes we have to like maybe count backwards a little bit. And a simple exercise. Whenever you come up with something you don't want to do, count backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just go do it. Because you're not going to get that out your head
Yeah.
that you want to do. You're not going to have enough time to convince yourself. You'll spend all day trying to convince yourself should you do it. You're just not going to do it. You just got to go do it, especially when these change long term is going to benefit you.
Yeah. It's sometimes we need an alarm clock, a
Yep.
coach, someone to say, all right, it's time. It's time. It's time to go for that walk. You
Yep.
know, trying to go for that walk, that hike right now at whatever time it is.
Hmm.
Preferably, it's something that you want to start your day off with, get that energy going, get things flowing, and before it, I found out that water has huge benefits, but one of the simplest things is drinking water as soon as you get up,
Yep.
and to get your energy going. I mean, if water's cold, it's so quenching to me. And some people just don't realize that water is essential to our bodies, and I hear you talking, and I'm trying to
Hmm.
listen to a lot of stuff that you're talking, and
Yeah.
get myself motivated.
Well,
And
yeah, I get it. And sometimes the motivation comes from a whole lot of pain, man. And
sure,
and the pain is like my wife and one of her friends, they start hiking, and I was like, I'm gonna join them because you know what?
yep,
I've got certain goals I want to do, and I joined them, and then boom, we just started adding other people and started doing it. And there are a lot of days, man, we go out there, we don't want to be out there.
hmm
We just don't want to be out there, man. We're like, damn, we okay, but we got to do it. And guess what? I mean, we're pushing each other, and I'm pushing them, and I know they're like pissed off at me, but I'm like, hey, you know what? You got to think about the long term gain. And even if you can't think about it, you need to just go ahead and do it right now. And guess what? You'll get these returns down the road. Um,
sure,
Thank you for mentioning that water, right?
yeah,
Water, as I was saying before, is so beneficial. And yeah, drinking it first thing in the morning, it gets your system going, right? It gets your system like super going in the morning. And this is one of the things that, I don't see no one talking about this anywhere. You want a part of your immunity as well is that we got to be regular, man. We should be going to the bathroom like 3 times a day. And if
hmm
you drink that water first thing in the morning, it'll get your system going. Man, one of the first things I do right as I wake up, I grab my water and I drink it. I have it sit there as at room temperature. I grab it and down it, right? And then throughout the day, we should be regular. And there's so many different herbs, right? I'll give you one herb that makes you regular, but it doesn't detox you. You
hmm
should only you should only detox during the solstice times, somewhere around there, but not the winter solstice, which was December the 21st.
hmm
At the summer solstice, people talk about spring cleaning and all that. That's a really good time to detox, and we should detox a couple times a year, right? Really a deep, deep down detox. But we should be regular. And one of the herbs that I take is Cascara Sagrada, and that's the herb I take. Hey, man, if I'm not regular enough, right? And
hmm
we're walking around, I guarantee you, most adults, 5 to 10 pounds of extra stuff in that we shouldn't have,
yeah,
right? And it's because we're not regular enough. One
yeah,
time a day, one time a day, you're constipated. Two
hmm
times a day, you're almost constipated. We should be going like 3 times a day. I know that's difficult, especially having jobs and going ahead every day. But if we're not regular enough, right, our toxins really start to build up inside of us. So that's another thing that hurts us when it comes to fighting off diseases, fighting off illnesses, etc. Is that how clean we are on the inside. And this
true,
is how we talked a little bit about that sugar, man. If people could start to, and there's other sugar alternatives, right? I'll give
hmm
you a couple. Monk fruit is one. That's my favorite. That's the most similar in consistency and taste to sugar. You got stevia. Don't do those things like sweet and low, right? Stuff like that. Splenda.
hmm
Those things are made in the lab, and those things really, while they're sugar free, they have a detrimental effect on your organs as well.
true.
Yeah,
Um, got my friend Raven saying warm or room temperature, never ice cold. Um,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
I'm actually, I don't know. It's like we got to do some changes. I got to make some changes. It's something about cold water that refreshes me, and but
Hmm.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to warm water and try to do the best I can. Now, I believe this is what you just mentioned. Let's
Yeah,
check it out here.
yeah,
Yep. Okay.
castrated together.
And that's good. That might that's probably coming from your home office there, and I love
Yeah,
that because
yeah, I'm sure my wife is putting that thing up. So, yeah, and you know what's interesting, Charlie? Um, I'm 52, right? So I
yeah,
grew up in the 70s, right? Man, when I was growing up, there may be a few people who were a little overweight, right?
yep,
Now, what, 50, 60, 70% people overweight? I'm even considered overweight. I'm probably carrying about 10, 15 pounds too much, Charlie.
and
And you know what's the difference is this day and time, Charlie?
yep,
The biggest difference is that we are in a time and place where everybody wants something now.
true.
I tell you right now, it's like, hey man, you got to get out here, and you may have to run 3 or 4 months and do it when it's cold, when it's rainy, when it's wet. Be like, is there a shorter way? We want this thing, and because of social media, TV, everybody's thinking everything is now. Everybody takes something good. I mean, it takes a while to do it. Would you rather have a meal from a microwave or somebody in that kitchen all day putting love into it? You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Putting everything in it, right?
Yep.
This is the stuff when I was growing up, and I was telling my wife, I was like, and she was the same way. She always ate at home. We ate at home growing up, right? My parents didn't go to fast food, but I get it. People got two families working and all that, but it takes time, and it's one day at a time. I remember when we first started hiking, I was like, man, this hill is killing me. I'm
Hmm.
like, I can only do halfway, and I got to stop and get going. And recently, man, we just completed 8 miles.
Wow. Okay.
And so I was like, okay, this is, hiking and walking is one of the easiest ways to get our body right. One more thing, too, I want to talk about before we open, the questions and all,
Mhm.
Charlie. Man, try your best not to eat after 6 o'clock at night. Your body is slowing down. Your body has this thing where it's not digesting food at a faster clip because it's starting to feel like, okay, I need to start reserving some energy to detox in this body. And boy, some of us don't make it easy for our bodies, right? Because of the things we do, including myself, man. And I'll be the first one to tell you, I remember, man, I used to have the worst diet.
Hmm.
I used to do all these things we're talking about. I'm telling you from experience, my brother. I'm not somebody sitting up here on some high horse. Man, I wasn't in shape. I had a terrible diet. I didn't drink enough water. Man, I remember there was a time when I used to hack all the time because I had so much phlegm in me and I didn't
Hmm.
drink enough water. My drink of choice was orange juice. And I'm adding all this mucus and toxic back in my body. Orange juice is not bad from that perspective, as long as you don't drink it all the time, right?
True.
And so, man, and I was barely drinking any water. I remember people asking me, "Hey, you okay?" because you're hacking all the time. So, I'll be the first one to say the journey that everyone else is on. I've been through that, man, and I was like, "Wow." And so, when you start to learn and you apply things, and then being a coach and helping people with weight loss, man, to help people with weight loss and to change their diet and to change their health, it got pretty easy because I took that long, hard journey, my brother.
Hmm. Yeah, and it's the one thing I found out that when especially with cleaning out your body and it made me feel so good. It definitely, you can see it, you can feel it. And one of the things and you mentioned about the lungs, and that's something I really want to kind of get my immunity up with my lungs, because as I take on the exercising, I definitely want to make sure that my lungs are not straining as hard. It's going to be a struggle anyway. So I want to make sure that I'm making that adjustment, or actually taking something that's going to help me. So let me go to some of these questions and comments. I don't want people to think that we're ignoring them, but I also want to make sure that you bring out this factual information, and it will lead to some other questions.
Sure.
Let's
Absolutely.
see. Raven says, I started with a smoothie with warm, I believe that's water for the AM, a large salad or a healthy lunch, small dinner, no starch before 6 p.m. I feel much better with 6 bottles of water every day. And all of that, a lot of that is basically what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
So she's definitely on the right track. Uh,
Yeah.
better than most.
Yeah. I would also add to that. This is the toughest thing about water. Half your body ate half your body weight in ounces. That's what you should do.
Okay.
So say someone's 100 pounds, right? They should do 50 ounces of water.
Mm-hmm.
Get to that point. You can't start that way
Yep.
because over a period of time, again, we would talk about nothing happens overnight, right?
Yes.
And that time may be 6 months, right? Because you have to make sure that you don't drink too much water because you start to eliminate your electrolytes,
Mm-hmm.
which is not good either.
True. True. The got Billy. Billy says, no, this is a big dude. He's been in pretty good shape most of his life. He says, I work out so I can fit in my clothes, plus to look good on my vacations at 55 years old.
Way to go, my brother. I
Yeah.
love it. And I think we all think about that, man, fitting in our clothes. We don't want to go out and get new clothes, right? And there may have been a certain garment of clothes where we're like, we got it on. We're like, man, this fits me right. So,
Mhm.
we start to think about that. But yeah, I mean, anything we can, man, here's the thing. Anything we can do is better than not doing something, right?
Yes.
So, man, and I tell people, man, if you have something that afflicts you, like you got a bad leg, do something, right? Get a bike at home or something, those indoor bikes. Get something to do, to get moving. And if you're getting moving, it helps tremendously.
True. True. I let's see here. Let me scan through these here. Well, I want to put this back up because this is kind of essential to me. So as I re replay this broadcast, especially when I'm driving, I like to listen to what we're talking about instead of putting that radio on. I want to get educated, especially with this podcast and you. It's definitely going to be something that I'm very, very interested in. Now, let me see. Got my girl Raven. She said no plastic surgery. We got to stay looking real. A few pounds is not bad. Exactly. I don't like anything foreign going into my body. I know at one point in my life I could have had a surgery where they were going to actually put something foreign in my eye.
Mm,
I really wasn't feeling that, um, only because I wanted to stay natural. And so I'm glad I didn't do it, although things are still not the way they're supposed to be. Uh,
right.
but I'm working on that. So any foreign substance, I just kind of frown upon it. And, you know, like, one of the comments was people got to advocate for themselves. And
Right.
before you think about that plastic surgery, think of some alternatives. And so a lot of things that you have said is alternatives to get away from that thinking. So,
Yeah. I mean, and you know what? You can find alternatives and vet them, right? You can do your own research, right?
true.
You can look in many different places. We're on the internet, which is access to anything. You come across something, Hey, I would tell people all the time, whatever you hear, scrutinize it.
Hmm.
Whether it's from me, a doctor, anybody.
Yeah,
You know what
exactly.
I'm saying? I mean, this is one of the things where you want to really be an ownership in your health.
Hmm.
And because, and my mom was a nurse for over 50 years. We talk all the time. She talked about how much she was an advocate for my grandmother, and that, when she was starting to have heart issues, the doctor care in Baltimore was absolutely terrible.
Hmm.
She had to step in and be an advocate, ask the questions, and go on and just be an advocate for us, because a lot of times, and I hate to say it, and don't believe me, could research it. The care that people of color get in America is probably substandard at best.
Yeah, and we I like that point that you're encouraging people, our listeners, our viewers to kind of research, do your homework, and it's very important. Um, Sometimes uh, just some words of advice that you get in a classroom can kind of help you to pass that test. And what you're doing is you're giving us some some assistance to pass that test, and that test is our health, our good health. So I like the fact that people are listening. Take what you have now, bring it home, do some homework, listen to other voices, listen to someone else, and then you kind of confirm what coach is saying, is what you're saying. And it's very important because my dad used to tell me that all the time. Look, this is what we have. It's three books in front of you. I've just told you a few things. Now look into these books and find what I'm talking about. So I would read and look. Back then we were reading. There's nothing audible.
Right.
So, and I would read, and basically in what he said, I found in all three books. So I said, hey, you're right. So and so, whoever the author may be, said the same exact thing. And then when you look at their education, you know, um, they had great educations, whether it's whatever we were talking about, PhDs, so on and so forth. And I said, look, is my dad? He's telling me it, and these people are confirming it, or he's confirming what they're saying. So we got to do some research, and but with me and you, or you and I definitely love what you're doing. I
Thank you, brother.
definitely have the utmost confidence in what you're telling me, you know, and as you the olive leaf extract, I'm gonna look into that, and I'm gonna look into the other $1 million word you said, the two words there. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it, you know. I'm gonna check those things out, um, because it's good for me to know. It's good for me to read and do some research. So then, when I'm talking to the next person, I can actually have some kind of history on it and some kind of where I can verbalize and talk to these people and say, this is why this is good for you. And maybe you should try it out. This is what it does for you. So, um,
Yeah. I mean, Charlie, you know, that's what I got to at some point, just having this level of discernment. And this is what I feel this is what social media is doing to take away from people, letting you know, hey, they're letting you know right now, you got this choice, that's it. And so we don't want to turn into cattle where it's like, okay, here you go. This is what you need to do. This is the only thing works. Somebody needs to be like, hey, hold on a second. I've got some questions real quick.
mhm,
And if if a so-called professional does not allow questions, I don't care who it is, walk away as fast as you can.
true.
Because I don't care who you are, your theories, your concept, your judgment should always be questioned by all of us. And this is why I tell people all the time, don't believe me, look it up. I talk about this olive leaf extract. You can go on YouTube; they still have it up because a lot of time these supplemental things that we can do to help ourselves are being scrubbed from social media. I mean, really, man, with the quickness.
Yes.
And so this olive leaf extract, hey, I brought it to my mom. She was like, you know what? I went on a trip one day and I've been taking this for a while and I didn't get as sick as I normally would get. And
Okay.
look, my mom had been in the medical field forever.
Mm-hmm.
So to have her start to do something that's different, you know what I'm saying? It's like pulling teeth, right? Because you're in something long enough, you start to be wired to think that way for some time,
Mm-hmm.
right? And for all of us to come out with fresh thinking and a level of discernment and question everything, in my opinion, the best way to go. We were talking about trying different things. We were talking about, I personally feel all diets work. Do you
Mm-hmm.
know why they don't work, Charlie?
Because we stop them or we kind of let go of something in that process, whether it may be, I mean, the pills in itself. I mean, I think the pills are actually, correct me if I'm wrong. I think the pills are actually maybe just to give you that head start, to help you out a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, but we also, each diet plan usually gives you an additional part of the, some recipes, some foods you should eat, and you got to kind of maintain pretty much those foods or something similar to it. You make adjustments, what you like, what you don't like, and so you know, that's my opinion.
That's a great point. All that matters too. That does. But another thing as well is that habit change.
Sure. Yeah.
And that was one of the things. once I started, once I started getting into doing this and being a coach, that was the number one thing because I couldn't solidify my habits to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that was one of the things that to help people to stay into diets to do anything is the habit change part. And that thing, that's difficult, man. It's
Yeah.
not easy. And, I empathize. And, I've struggled with that. I still struggle with changing the habit, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could say tomorrow and say, hey, I'm gonna run a marathon. First thing that's going, my brain's going to fire off. Like, no, you're not. Because my brain's going to think halfway through it is going to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to go through all these things in your mind, right? But it's that whole habit change. Think about it. When I was growing up, and I spent all the time in Baltimore, I only saw kids playing outside. I never saw adults out there walking,
Mm-hmm.
right? I didn't start seeing people walking and exercising until we like moved out in the suburbs. You start seeing other people do it. You
Yeah.
never saw us.
Yep.
And Charlie, again, I'm not trying to scare the masses, but during COVID and before COVID, people of color had their health is in comparison to third world countries,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we tried it all. We tried the diets and all that. We never really tried the unconventional things of doing things different and trying to do things different. And a lot of times being stuck in how we doing things won't change our trajectory when it comes to, our health. And I mean, you think about how many people over the age of 40 and people of color that have high blood pressure, diabetes, is overweight. I can go on and on. Cancer rates are soaring. You know what I'm saying? And
True.
and these are the things a lot of times that can be solved by lifestyle changes, right? But
Exactly.
the thing about that and lifestyle changes that comes up, it takes a whole lot of habits, a lot of encouraging, and people around you that's going to help support that, Charlie.
True. We got Michael Consatio. It's a good comment. He says, it's great to hear this from one of our own, and obviously the things Mr. Speller is saying has worked. So I'm taking this information like a sponge. I'm working out quite a bit, but have to make some adjustments. And hearing this information will lead me to making necessary changes, simple things like water intake, etc. And so that's good to hear, especially, you know, this is it's a close friend of mine. So,
Yes.
and I'm glad that he's doing that, because our kind of circle is actually is shrinking. There's definitely, and it's due to some health issues, and one, we're seeing a friend at right now, probably 6 months ago, they were good, they were healthy, they were doing the right thing, and then 6 months later, after being locked down, um, I see a friend walking out of the hospital with a cane,
Hmm.
um, and severely overweight, and I'm like, wow, what happened in that 6 months? And we kind of look at it, it's all those things that you talked about, the diabetes, the high blood pressure, um, and so you know I like this, and I've talked to you, in our other podcasts, is that I want to continue to do this. Part one, part two, part three, part four,
Yeah.
because what it does is it just it kind of brings it out again, and hey, you need a friendly reminder. Hey, I'm going to give you a reminder. Remember when we talked about, getting better, getting healthy? Well, have you done it? All right, you haven't done it, but look, I'm going to give you a reminder. Let's just try to start it up again, or get it started. So,
Yeah.
um,
Can I share one quick thing too?
sure, sure.
I I remember I coached this lady about 2 years ago. Man, she was. I'm not gonna say her name because she's gonna kill me. She was horrible. I'm just say her name, and she was highly skeptical. And I started working on her habit change parts of her brain, and it was so effective. But it's okay to be skeptical. And you know what? I think sometimes we kind of beat ourselves up from where we're at, and we have to sometimes first start by forgiving ourselves. Hey, it was what it was, but this is what I can do to be better. And if we would even say that to ourselves in the beginning of the day, sometimes we would just start to just be better for it.
True.
And, Charlie, early in the year, I left my corporate job.
Hmm.
I was in corporate America for 30 years, and the job I was in, it was time to go. And throughout that, and COVID and all this other stuff, my blood pressure shot up, and so I spent a week in a hospital. Right, and had I not been doing certain supplements, I truly think I would not have made it out of that hospital. And they were surprised. I
Hmm.
walked myself, and my wife drove me. I walked myself into that hospital because they thought I was having a stroke. My face was drooping. I could barely walk. They thought I was having a stroke, right? I walked myself into that hospital. And I fully believe, had I not been taking supplements, Charlie, or doing changes in my lifestyle, clearly I didn't do enough,
Hmm.
right? I don't think I would have made it out. And this is the whole thing. It's the little things that you can do. And we don't have enough time to go into, like, as you get older, our arteries start to harden, but there's supplements to take that. There's herbs out here. And I always tell people that there's herbs out here. And someone mentioned in the beginning Dr. Sebi. Dr. Sebi was incredible. I wish more of us would have listened to him.
Yeah,
He
and then,
was talking about have you heard of him?
yes, I have.
Okay.
And he did pass away, correct?
He did.
Yeah, and so the craziest thing is that when I started looking into him, I started seeing him on YouTube, and but the one thing that captured me was the way he talks and speaks, and
Yeah.
he captivates you instantly, and it's like, man, this is cool, this is legit. And after just, I mean, social media is just crazy. It's good, bad, and ugly. But the good thing about it is by me clicking on the stuff that he was, broadcasting and getting out there, now new things started popping up, and I'm like, hey, what's this? So I started listening even more, and and then all of a sudden I see some of my friends, actually listening to him. So definitely, you know, very, very informative.
Oh
Um,
man, that brother, I'll tell you, he saved many lives. And Charlie, I would throw this out to you. We need to get several people close together and get on once a week and just something separate from this,
mhm.
talk about and really take people really from here to there in 30 days with their health. This is something we really need to do, Charlie, because I don't know, man. I sit back and I see our health, and it absolutely kills me. And it killed me, when I think about my backstory. I told you very, very few people have gotten old in my family. My grandmother was 80. I had an uncle who got to 79. My mom now is 74, but everyone else died before 60 or under 70. And I remember, man, I had an aunt who died at 39, heart disease. I had people who, just, and I can go on and on all day long. And I think this what drove me to try to help people. This is why I've been doing it. And I even went to school to do it. And honestly, we got to start pulling people together, because even if you throw somebody something, your brain is going to work on a subconscious level for a week and be like, okay, and it becomes tough. And I'm doing this like challenge. I'm doing this ab challenge again. I did it last year. I did, and the first 4 days, I was like, my mom was like, stop it, you're in pain. And I was like, the hell with that. And I kept going with it. And I was like, after day 5, it started getting easier for me. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I understand about how our mind works against us, because it's our mind, our most basic part of our brain is there to protect you. And when you do something that's hard, it's like, I got to kick in to protect you.
Mhm.
So, and we'll talk offline about, man, but I think it's important, continue these series, but get people together and just, okay, where you want to go in 30 days, let's do it together. I'm going to be the one that's going to hold that space for you to get to where you want to go. Because, I mean, there's not enough of us people of color out here trying to push this narrative about it's time to get healthy. I need to hold you accountable. I need to give you the steps. I need to guide you. I need to hold that space for you for where you want to go 30, 60, 90 days. There's not enough. And how I know this, man, I just went to the top school health life coach and mastery coach. I just went there, and there wasn't enough of us. I'll tell you that. Or the ones that were there didn't stick with it. But everywhere you go, there's a guru that doesn't necessarily look like us that's saying the same stuff I'm saying it, and people are eating that stuff up. But
Mhm.
we're the ones that's got the worst health out here, Charlie. So I
I,
just think about that all the time, my brother.
I agree. I agree. Um, so for our listeners and viewers, if this is something you want to do, team up with me, you know, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of you, team up with me so we can do this on a weekly basis, and meet up with coach and try to get this stuff done, for the better of us, all together. I am putting it out there. Let's work on it. You can privately inbox me, and let's get this started. It's definitely something. I see Michael. Michael's definitely doing a routine. So
Yes, sir.
me, Michael, you know, Raven's doing a routine. We can
That's great.
definitely get all us together, and right there in itself, that's 4 people, because even though you're the coach, you're still part of the the getting better. You may have a bad day.
Yeah, and I don't have all the answers too. You know what I would have wished, Charlie? I
Hmm.
would have had, man. I think on your Facebook you got like 5,000 friends,
Hmm.
right?
And this is the
5,000
second. This
people
is
try to come on. Hey, I'm
yeah,
doing this to get healthy. How do you get healthy? And get this like movement started, right? Get this thing going, man, because it is critically important. You know, this vaccine is not going to come in and just make us automatically healthier overnight. No one's going to come save us and make us be healthier. This is the journey we have to do. No one's going to do this for us but us, and we got to just take one step at a time. I love what the viewers are talking about, what they're doing. Great. We got to continue to share these things and put something together, right? Where we're all moving forward and we can all move forward together because, like I said, I have some answers. I don't have them all, and there's more to be had out here, right? But I
true.
know there's enough collective conscious out here for us to kind of move forward with this.
Exactly. Let's see, Raven. I love you, Raven. You're doing a good job with this. Giving us some nice comments. This is our CV community, which means Cape Verdean community, needs health education, diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer, and we are what we eat exactly. And in my case, I'm a bunch of food that I shouldn't be eating. And I think our Cape Verdean community has we definitely breads and everything that everything you ate we're eating is no different. It's just a bad diet, more or less, only because when we went in the house, mom, grandmother, grandfather, hey, sit down, boy, eat. you know
Likewise, brother.
yeah, and
Right?
so you ate was there,
Or
and
you
then you
went
go
home.
to you go to the next kin, you go to the next relative, and guess what? Sit down and eat, and you're eating some more. Uh, I didn't mind it back then because I was playing ball, I was doing things, and I was staying active. And but so coach, this is probably going on an hour right now. I think we got
Yep.
about 3 minutes. Yeah, I'm not saying goodbye. I definitely is there anything you want to add? I could kind of, what I'm gonna do is so I'm gonna give you a few minutes. I'm gonna go off the screen and then
Okay.
come back. But I just
Okay.
want you to kind of, if you want to touch up on what you spoke about and then end it in conclusion, and then I'll come back on the screen. Okay.
Sure.
All right. Let's see here.
Thank you, Raven. I love your comments, and this is a journey for all of us. And if anyone has any questions, you can just reach out to me, and I, I'm an open book. And I'm an open book because this isn't necessarily my information. This is information that I acquired, or this information has come through me, and I want to be out here and share with everybody and help people become more healthier. I think that's everything. And we can do this together. I'm looking forward to getting our group started and us get healthy and well together. I know we can do it, and I'm excited about that. I'm excited about more people are coming on, and with Charlie. Charlie is the most amazing person. Thank you, Charlie, for having me. But I look forward to really being a servant to people. This is what this is all about: servitude to others. Um,
Well, I definitely want to thank you. It you know, I want to thank you because it's needed. I need it. Definitely, Raven says yes. She needs it. We all need what you're offering. So I'm going to try to set up that group
Okay.
before my next podcast. I'll. I see I got some messages, not knowing if it's related to this or not. But like I said, I mentioned some names. I'll get those people together, and then we'll go from there. Um,
Cool. Absolutely, my brother.
uh,
Thank thank you so much. Thank you for always trying to bring people together. Um, my love for the CV community. Like I said, I was adopted. My wife got me adopted. So, hey, man, we're all in this together. I consider myself CV, and
yep.
the CV community has shown me nothing but love since day one. So, I got to continue to give it back.
Hey, you're a wonderful man, and
Thank you, brother.
I just, my family. That's the way I consider it.
That's right.
Um, my, my heart and soul is for you. You need me, you give me a holler,
I will, brother.
regardless of what it is. Uh,
Okay.
Sometimes we can't talk to who's within the house. Sometimes, we need to talk to someone else. So I'm always there for you, and
Thank
I know you will be there for me. So
you. Always and forever.
same here, lifetime people. I love it. All right. Thank you,
Okay.
Coach. And
All right.
I'm gonna end this. I'm gonna say bye bye to you. And
Peace and love to everybody.
exactly. All right, brother.
Okay. Take care.
All right. Give the wife a hug for me. All
I
right.
will. Okay.
Thank you. As always, Coach Marvin Speller, Coach M100. It's on Facebook. Definitely has a lot to offer. You know, the community, to everybody who it's not a black and white thing, it's not a color thing, it's not a cultural thing. It's health, being healthy people. We want our world to be healthy, especially at these times where um we are unhealthy, including myself. So we're trying to get healthy. I would like to set up a group just like you talked about, you know and his craft is definitely his craft. He's done. He's educated. There's a small fee that we have to do to set up this group. He's definitely, it's a small fee. So look, join with me. Join with me. Let's get healthy together. Let's get ready for the springtime. You know, and in the springtime we feel good. We feel better. And then we can kind of educate the people around us that may be looking to get healthier. So, Coach has a lot of recommendations, a lot of ideas that is only good for us. So, if you want to join my group, let me know and we'll get this started as soon as possible. All right. 4 or 5 people is great. 10 people is even better. Okay. God bless. Mask those beautiful faces. Hand sanitize your hands, wash your hands, and stay safe. Keep yourself safe. I say this a lot, but we got to do it. We definitely have to do it. Um, actually, I got another podcast at 6 p.m. today with a local recording artist, songwriter, uh, Patrick Secret Picard, local kid. Stay tuned and definitely check me out at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Love you guys. God bless. Peace.